children of the cosmos. It's yours truly, Mr. G, calling once again, and you're listening to Unidentified Education. Well, the shields are holding, and we are ready to receive from the mothership. So let's begin. The year is 2021, and we are a day closer to full disclosure of the UFO phenomenon, and a day closer to the arrival of the ETs. But now it's time to reboot from the system that we're so used to living day by day and step out of the simulation, if you will, just for a little bit. And that's a topic I want to talk about today. Are we living in some kind of biosimulation? In fact, we could be controlled by alien technology as we speak. It could be encoded in our DNA. So prepare yourself as you stumble down the rabbit hole as we discuss further into this topic. But first, I want to bring to your attention some really terrifying news, I guess. So Russia has a torpedo, I think they call it the Poseidon, and it has a nuclear warhead attached to it. And, they're taking over the Arctic slowly. They have bases out there. And I was wondering if, we'll go into it later, but, they have the ability to just plow through the ice and snow. And I think they're rerouting a path for route for trading. And they're slowly arming themselves with this torpedo that can sneak past military aircrafts. And it has a nuclear warhead attached to it. It's a torpedo with a nuclear warhead. And with North Korea, Russia, the US, all of us, we're always trying to progress in the nuclear programs that we have. And I'm afraid there's two things that can happen. We just kill ourselves or something will intervene. What is that? I'm going to get into it later in this podcast. But do we need to worry? Of course, nobody wants a war. I don't think there'll be another Cold War, if you will. I think the ETs are fully aware of what the possibilities and outcomes are. And I'll give you a prediction. I think it's going to be the Russians. Now, I'm not trying to get into the politics of things. I want to leave that out. But I think the Russians are going to be the first to have full contact with the ETs, if not already. The Russians have the Russia Federation. So happens the Galactic Federation, I think, has some Russian influence. And like I said, I'm not here to get into the politics. But if any ET was worried about a country, it would be North Korea or Russia. And I think Russia would have first dibs at ET contact. And that's not because they think they want to side with the Russians. I think it's more of they see them more as a potential threat to actually launching a nuclear strike. And that's what and that's what I really want to talk about. But I also want to talk about the living in the biosimulation as well. But this has been, I've been looking up YouTube, and I know it's getting real heated up there in Russia. And they have their strategic plans to take over certain territories in there, and it's a big mess. Yes, I know. But with that, I think it's going to come, we're going to see more sightings of ETs. Why? Because I believe that they expect something. And you've seen, just recently, there was an article about the Pentagon. They're approving and they're acknowledging that these videos of UFO sightings are legit, and there's a newest one. I don't know how credible it was, but there was a video released of a pyramid or triangle-shaped UFO that was recorded with night vision, and it looked like a blinking pyramid or triangle. And supposedly that is a legit aircraft or a legit UFO or advanced aerial phenomenon or threat, whatever they're calling it now. And I think we should prepare ourselves to see more and more as these different countries start to, post up, if you will. And I don't know why they're doing it now. I mean, I guess COVID's over. Now they're back at it, bored. They're ready to show some power. They're ready to take over. A lot of these dictators, they need to be aggressive to take over. They need to show some kind of brute force. And so they need to stay in power. So they need to keep showing that they're the strongest. So that's on my mind lately. And that's going to be a major topic today that we discuss. That's all I really want to say for the news. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear some about more sightings around the area. As these wars, happen overseas, we don't have the intel. And there's been countless of stories of UFOs interfering with radio and radar. No telling how many instances UFOs have somehow interfered with some kind of battle during some kind of war or the Iraqi war. And I think the ETs are kind of done observing, and they're at a point where they're not visiting, I think. They're not visiting, but they're monitoring the events that may take place. And who knows, they may have the ability to see ahead. If they can distort gravity, they may have somehow be able to see into the future. I don't know how long, but I think we're going to see more and more sightings. And I predict that the Russians will be the first to make contact with ETs. And if anything, settle maybe an agreement. Who knows? We'll find out as things escalate, as tensions escalate, as Russia make decisions, and which escalates, and everyone gets really nervous and hopefully not trigger happy with the nukes. But we're going to talk about that. But up first, I want to talk about, are we living in a biosimulation, and my theories on that. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Okay, are we living in some kind of biosimulation? And there's lots of theories out there. There's lots of theories that we were somehow made by ETs using ET technology, ET science, and they've been around for a while, and they've messed with our genetics, so to speak. They experimented with us, and I wonder if we are somehow controlled by that throughout evolution. Are we somehow held back by a genetic code that tells us that we can only progress at a certain speed at a certain time to a certain extent? And maybe we are somewhat of an antennas, and who knows, maybe code can be downloaded to our brains, and certain selected few are able to gather that intel and create some kind of major breakthrough that was kind of planted into our system. And that's not totally sci-fi, because Elon Musk's Neuralink is pretty much doing that as we speak. They can measure, and eventually they can download information into your brain, and even record information, your dreams, or implant memories. And if there's science that can do that, then it's totally possible that we are somehow encoded to follow a certain instruction, a path, if you will. And not everyone is meant to be a genius. Not everyone is meant to grasp things and obtain data in their memory. I mean, that's what makes a person really smart, is they're able to obtain information, and they can keep it there and memorize it. A computer, and they can go back to it, pick up things fast too. So perhaps by ET technology, or that was encoded a long time ago, a long, long time ago. We are suppressed to act a certain way, to be a certain way, to even progress on to that will enlighten us, and we can have a different form of thinking, and not so much a higher level of thinking where we no longer fight for territory and feel that we need to be a superpower and start working together, so to speak, and educating everybody. Because once we all, maybe the whole hive mind is not a bad idea. What's really stopping everybody is that we're coming from different forms of life, different cultures, and in the future of those cultures, that culture disappears and we become one like-minded. It's going to do away with a lot of ideas. These ideas that we have will be a distant memory. It would be one hive mind. We won't have an issue with each other because we all think the same. Maybe that's the only way we can level up as humans, and maybe that's why we are the way we are, because maybe we're suppressed in a way. Maybe it's encoded in our DNA. By who? God? Aliens? I don't know. But that's a type of simulation. It's not so much a simulation, rather it's a set of rules, I guess, and it's encoded in our DNA that we act a certain way and that we learn a certain way, and that we progress on at the will of our creators, whoever that may be. I don't like to get involved with religion, but alien, God, ET, I don't know. And it seems like we're kind of, we worry about, the majority of the planet worries about, the next new technology, what's going on online, or a new dance, or a new this or a new that, and we're kind of just focused on ourselves, and almost like it's like throwing a toy into a child's bin. Here's a new toy. And everyone's, and all, the children are just gravitated to it. We're kind of like the world's a big toy bin, and you toss something in there and we just infatuate it with it, technology, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, that should keep them busy. Whoever's on the outside, that should keep them busy. Well, we'll give this one human the ability to think of that certain technology, and that should keep them busy. Now, I don't think they wanted us to build nukes or any type of weapons like that, because they realize, ETs, they realize how important the Earth is. And I think that's why they're interfering. I don't know. They are slowly revealing themselves. I think they're worried. I think they realize that there is an era in the coding, and we've just drawn to that type of technology where we can just destroy ourselves. And I think the ETs are worried that that's what's going to happen. Not so much us, but destroy the planet, which they probably realize is very unique and important because of its uniqueness. It's hard to find another Earth like ours because of the way, how we're situated around the solar system, around the sun. And it's just something that we can't appreciate it because it's like when your parents buy you a car, you never have to earn it. So you don't feel like, if you crash, oh, well, my parents will buy me another. If you crash the car, oh, well, my parents will buy me another one. It's like, we were born here on this earth. We don't realize how much, it was put into it, how much, if it was created from many other planets. They took one good thing from one planet and another good thing from another planet, and they stuck it into one giant, they stuck it on the earth, whatever it was, plants, animals, they all put it on earth, and it's like a best of everything around you. And if you travel to that planet where one of the things that you came from, it's just, who knows, there could be a planet full of spiders, but they took the best spiders from that planet and dropped them off Earth. So maybe there's a planet full of spiders. That'd be crazy. There's a planet full of flowers. There's a planet full of, tigers and all kinds of stuff. I don't know, whatever they picked from it. The point is, planet Earth is special, and they realize that, and we are slowly, something big will happen, and something, whether in religion you call it Judgment Day, or for you believers out there, the coming of the ETs, it's going to happen very soon, because mankind, humans are at that point where we can build that weapon that can destroy us. We have the capability, and all it takes is one press of a button. So the simulation that we live in can come to an end really fast, and frankly, there's nothing we can really do about it. It's out of the little guy's hands, and so who knows? That's when ET should intervene with local governments. I don't know, but I'm telling you, I think Russia's going to be the first ones to make contact. And I will be right back. Will nuclear war force ETs to intervene? I think yes. I've already said Russia is going to be the first nation to be in contact with ETs because of their capabilities. And China's, good contender as well. I think Russia will be the first, and then I think it'll be China, and will probably be the last. And it's going to be, the ETs will be forced because they already they're already going to know whether nuclear war will start, and they'll know that it's getting to that point. Now, if you remember, this back in the 80s, UFOs have known to disable nuclear warheads. And we've seen how fast these tic-tac-toe UFOs are. These tic-tac UFOs are. It seems like they are on more of a defense. That's why you never see big laser beams, maybe, or any kind of trajectories or big old disintegrating ray. You don't see that on UFOs. You see them based on speed, and the technology is disabling whatever it is, a weapon. And we're going to see we're going to see different shapes of UFOs as the nuclear threat becomes more ideal, and even war, because that will lead to nuclear threat. Any type of war, any type of altercation, someone's going to end up pressing that button. The losing opponent. We're going to see more different shapes and sizes of sightings of UFOs. And, there was a documentary, I cannot remember it for the life of me, but during the major battles, there was sightings of UFOs. I'm talking about Alexander the Great time period, where there were sightings of UFOs fighting battles amongst them. And we don't know how far back these stories of angels and who knows, they could be ETs as well. It's a theory out there. So as modern war progresses, it's just going to lead to nuclear war. And ETs, in my opinion, will intervene. And at this point, they're probably monitoring us. And, they're, with Russia having occupied Antarctica with several different bases, and Poseidon with a nuclear warhead, that's just going to you're conjuring up a wasp nest. They're going to come out of the water, they're going to come out from the skies, and they're going to reveal themselves because of war. And we see it now. We see perhaps they are constructing new vehicles. No longer will we see those crazy top hat looking ones. Those are the Model Ts. Perhaps they've used the resources that we have used and created a more up-to-date craft, such as a Tic Tac UFO, something that could pass on flying in the sky, something that's not gonna yell out ETs from another planet. We don't know if it's one race or two races of aliens, of ETs, each race having a different vehicle, a different craft, and it's going to be instantaneous. It's going to be like flipping a switch, and the cloaking system will disappear, and in an instant we're going to see possibly hundreds of UFO ships on the day of arrival that were there the whole time. And it's going to be unfortunate because we are no longer going to feel like we are in charge of our destiny. Now we know that we are completely been monitored the whole time, and everyone's excited for the arrival of the ETs, but I don't think it's going to be what everyone else thinks, like Star Trek or Star Wars. It's going to be restricted because of who we are. We will not be able to fly in spacecrafts. We will not be able to reach out to new life. It's going to be restricted and policed, perhaps. All because we can't get along with each other, and we're not at that point yet. And I don't think the ETs, I think the ETs understand we're not at that point, but they have no choice when we start to arm ourselves with nuclear destroying weapons of here on Earth. I don't want to scare you guys. This is just probably, hopefully it doesn't happen. You know, as they say, ignorance is bliss. But are we ready to accept the truth? Are we ready for that big reveal? Will we be able to live our lives normally, or will there be constant police and observation once the ETs arrive? Is there a protocol where we are no longer in charge of our destiny? I don't know. It's something to think about. I'd be happy living in a bio simulation. Hopefully we're still able to do what we need to do and travel to different planets and learn and evolve and spread out throughout the universe. Hopefully that is an option we can still have. Maybe they'll give us a second chance. I don't know. I don't want to end things off in a grim way of thinking, but we have to realize where we want to go, and maybe we'll take a vote. Who wants to go with us? The rest of you can stay on Earth, but you're going to be monitored and policed. I don't know. Would I go? Probably. I'd probably go. I would definitely go with ETs if they asked me. I would know the truth, and just something to think about. Tell me what you think. If you have any opinions about that or anything we talked about on this podcast, send me a message. Send me an email. I would love to hear from anybody who has any ideas, and we'll talk about it on the next podcast. If you want to become a supporter for only 99 cents a month, you can visit my support link that's on it'll be posted with this podcast. And you can visit anchor.fm/U-E and listen to other podcasts. Till then, children of the cosmos, be well and be content, for good things are coming, and need not to worry. We will all be well and safe. Sleep well tonight. Good night.